Any advice for future applicants?
Scared, I'm right here. Don't worry.
I always say this when people ask me.
In our final interview, I always remember our final interview. I don't know whether it's okay, right? But
I remember this.
Yeah, that was my core memory as well.
Apply. First of all, do it.
So we were asking a bunch of questions, and then we were on a question that we really couldn't answer.
We were stumped.
We were like, shit, I really don't know this answer. It's simple. And then we both really don't know. And then, we tried to answer, and this guy's like, I know these guys. They dig deeper. And then we were just like, okay, we actually really don't know. We really don't know the answer. Just want to hear advice and see how I can pitch it back.
Just be yourself, right? Like, you don't have to think about like, okay, what will they like what, and all these things, like thinking about something to create for yourself to look better in your application. For us, I think our application journey and our interview journey with Iterative was very different from others because we were just vulnerably ourselves. Like, just shared not just like the highlights, but also the challenges that we were going through and like our blockers, and like we were picked. And that feels like it's the opposite, right? Like, you only want to show your best self forward.
So I remember this call, and I was talking to them, and I was asking this question, and they like really didn't know the answer, and they kept giving me answers, and they were nonsense answers. Like, they were kind of what you thought, but like not kind of deep enough. And partway through the call, I was like, well, I'm definitely not investing in these guys. Like, they don't know the answer, right? And then finally they were like, we don't know. Like, we're trying to kind of figure this out. And actually that changed my mind to invest in them, because I feel like when founders realize that they like don't know the answer, then we can work with them. But if you think you know the answer, but your answer is actually kind of like nonsense, then it's harder to kind of work with. And so on some level, kind of like the humility of like, hey, we're not really sure, we want to kind of work together, and this kind of stuff actually made it kind of more likely that I'm like wanting to invest. And so that was like a very kind of core part. And then once they said that, I think I actually was like, hey, I think you guys should do this. Like, the final interview, I was like, I think you guys should do this. And then we like started talking, and then like all of that kind of stuff. Then I think during the batch, we actually started working on some of those things. Yes. I think actually the like, hey, we don't know, actually was kind of like the best answer they could give in that time, because I think in that moment, I'm like, I know they don't know, right? And so it's kind of just like, okay, we all are on the same page, and now we can kind of work on the thing. And so I actually think sometimes for founders, it's kind of like, you feel like you're supposed to know, but people can tell if you kind of like don't. And so sometimes the best thing to do is like, just kind of be honest about it, and you can kind of like work with it, right? So I remember the story.
It's okay. Continue to be real and just be yourself, and just really be real, be yourself, I feel like. And then apply with that mentality, like apply and interview with that mentality. I feel like that might be the biggest advice.
So I think there's loads of really good resources out there for you to understand how to be successful in your application. I think Iterative is not like a lot of other VCs in Southeast Asia. And so a lot of the things that they will look for are a little bit different to perhaps other people you've spoken to. So, instead of emphasizing your advisors, emphasize your insights and emphasize what you've learned about the product and your customer and why you're different. Make sure to kind of like emphasize your personal story and personal involvement, and why this is important to you, because at the end of the day, Iterative invests so early that they're not really investing in your company, they're investing in you as a founder.
I think customer insights. So Brian Sukin talked about this a lot, but knowing what customers think about and knowing what other people don't know is so important. If you know more than your competitors and you can work on that insight, that is the thing that will change the trajectory of your product. So optimize the insights.
Just apply. What's the worst that can happen?